Hi, I'm Brett, and welcome to Sony Simplified. Thanks for joining me today. Today's topic is going to be a beginner's guide to creative in-camera looks. This is live, so feel free to ask questions in the chat. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. So today I'm going to cover what are creative looks, where you find them on your camera, and I'll show you some examples of them and applications where I've used them in the real world on my camera. So what are creative looks? So they're similar to, say, picture filters and other phone camera effects that you can do, like black and white and partial color. The idea here is we want to show you how you can do some of the same cool things you can do with your cell phone on a real camera with a real sensor and a real lens and get really high quality images, and also have some of these cool effects without having to use editing software. Some people don't mind doing things in post. I'm lazy. I like for the camera to just do it for me. So just some notes on limitations of what it can and can't do. You can't use it on auto. You can't use these modes on auto, scene, or panorama. So that means you're going to be using like key, program auto, aperture priority, or shutter priority, things like that. Generally, I shoot in program auto. Doesn't work when shooting raw, so you do have to have it in JPEG. Generally, you're going to need decent lighting because it's not designed to work with flash. Not all modes will be on all camera models. So it depends on what model you have. You might have some, you might have all of them. To find out which modes you have on your camera, you can download the owner's manual, which will be in the links below. And last, you can't use creative styles and picture effects at the same time. These are actually two separate sections of the camera, and you can't layer one on top of the other. So the two main modes are creative style and picture effects. I'm going to show you a small assortment of both, and there's 10 or 12 different things on there depending on the model of camera. The idea wasn't just to carpet bomb with lots of different things, but to give you an idea of some of the things you can do. And then I encourage you to go in there and check them out and try them all, because what I think is really cool and works for my shooting style could be different for you, and vice versa. So where to find it on your camera? So the camera I'm using for this is an A7R4. On this model, it's tab 1, or it's tab 1, page 11. There's a picture on screen. The location might vary by model. So again, the Sony support site is in a link below, and you can get to the online owner's manual there. It'll tell you on your camera where it is and what you have and don't have. Highly encourage you to check out the online owner's manual. I use them all the time. They're very easy to use. They're searchable. It's a great way to kind of get to know some of the technical ins and outs of your camera, or any Sony product, really. So a pro tip is if you like any of these effects or anything else you want to do, you can program in the custom buttons or FN key on your camera. There will be an image on screen of what that looks like. On this camera, it's tab 2, page 9. It might vary with your model. Again, the instructions are in the owner's manual. And what these allow you to do, the C buttons, it'll be between 1 or 2 and 4, depending on the model of camera. There are hot buttons that can take you directly to specific things. So if you find that you like using creative styles or picture effects, you can program, say, C1 to go right to that. So you don't have to hunt through the menu. Alternately, the function button, which is on the back of all cameras, there's going to be 12 mini tiles on there, and you can custom program each of those to go to specific functions that you like. It's one of the first things I do on all of my Sony cameras is I go in and program those to the stuff that I use all the time. So fun pro tip there. Okay, so now I'll show you an assortment of my favorites. So the first thing I'm going to show you is partial color. So it's going to make the image, it's going to pick out a specific color highlight and make everything else black and white. So the first one I'm going to show you on screen is partial color yellow. So these were some yellow lilies in my backyard. I set it to partial color yellow. It makes everything black and white and really makes those flowers pop. I was taking these pictures just so I'd have you representative examples to show you, but I saw the pictures like, damn, this really looks cool. So the next one I want to show you is partial color green. I put this in this order because when I select it for green, it highlights the green of the plant and then makes the flowers black and white, which I thought was neat. So now those flowers end up being white. Those yellow flowers that you just saw end up being white on a green plant. So the next one was partial color red. So these were some red roses. It makes the red roses pop and then kind of de-emphasize everything else. And then the last one was partial color blue. And this is actually a pot full of basil. So if you know how vibrant green basil is, it really gives you an idea of how it kind of inverts things, which I thought was just a fun effect. The next thing is retro. So retro is designed to kind of give your pictures that sort of like family party from the 70s and 80s look. So this is how the scene looked normal, just set on auto settings or something. the next one is retro. So it kind of gives everything that soft look. Like if you've seen old photos from the 60s through the early 80s, they always look like this. And by the way, if anybody out there under 40, the colors really were that soft back in the 70s and 80s. They didn't develop bright colors until recently. So, old guy joke. The next thing is sepia. So if you're 150 and you want your photos to look like an old-time cowboy photo, this was the picture taken on normal, use auto. And then the next one is on sepia. So it gives it not just black and white, but that kind of soft, slightly brown hue. You know, if you're really going for that kind of vintage sort of, you know, cowboy era through the 20s or 30s look. So just kind of a fun thing. So the next one is posterization. This is designed to kind of give your photos that like sort of Andy Warhol kind of look. So this is the first picture is this just taken on normal, on auto. The next one is posterization color. So it's not just vivid, it's done to bam, to like hyper colors and hyper contrast and that kind of thing to just make it look really, you know, really dramatic. There's also posterization black and white. So again, it's not just black and white, it's like ultra contrast black and white to kind of, you know, to add a lot of drama to your photos. And last but not least, my favorite was high contrast black and white. The first time I saw this at my first training when I was in Sony 13 years ago, I fell in love with this. I said, I want to shoot on Sony camera because I want to shoot in this mode. And here's why I love it so much. So there's two things about it. First of all, this is, if you've been around photography at all, you know that the best time to shoot outdoor photos is in the morning and the evening. So it's like the golden hour, sunrise, sunset, and that really is better lighting, softer, better shadows, that kind of thing. If you've tried to shoot outdoors when it's between like 11 and 1, the lighting is just awful. It's straight down, there's no shadows, it washes everything out. So this scene was taken not only around noon, this normal image, but it was taken on like a partly overcast day. So it's just very flat, neutral lighting. Nothing jumps out at you. Now, boom, I changed it over, same picture, 30 seconds later, taken in high contrast black and white, and all of a sudden there's just all this drama in a picture that had no drama in like real life regular lighting. Note, the high contrast black and white will not insert dogs in your photograph. So there was no dog in the first one. So, and lastly, my shot. So these are actual real pictures that I took in the real world using these effects. Because again, I might have mentioned that I'm lazy and I just want the camera to do the work for me. So the picture on the left, that is partial colored yellow. That was taken in Madrid on New Year's Eve a number of years back. They have this big electric yellow Christmas tree thing. And I thought, oh, I want to try this. So I popped it into partial colored yellow and I got this shot and I thought it was really cool. It was like one of my favorite pictures from that trip. The next one to the right of that is the other cool thing that high contrast black and white does is it can make anybody look cool. I don't know what it is, but you point a camera at someone and you tell them just look a little serious, maybe look slightly off camera, put them in the right there or left there, take a picture. Everybody looks like a rock star in this mode. This was at a training. This is my friend John Santa Cruz. And I was just trying out this like prime lens and I was like, hey, John, just give me a serious look. So he looks over and takes it. I took this picture. I was like, man, you look so badass in this. So I sent him the picture. He's the nicest, chillest guy, but I just thought this picture of him just made him look like a rock star. And then the picture on the bottom, that's a classic example. This was taken in northern Arizona and it was just about noon. And it was just flat overhead lighting. The colors were all tan. I mean, there was just nothing going on in the photograph. Then I put it in high contrast black and white, and it looked like something from National Geographic. So that was my favorite picture from that trip too. So any questions in the chat? We are live. All right. If you have currently any Sony cameras or any products, don't forget to register them. What's in it for you? Glad you asked. When there's new firmware updates, it'll let you know. Firmware updates are always a good idea because they can introduce new features, they can fix minor bugs, they can give new options. Sometimes there's big new features that come out on firmware updates too. So it's always good to keep them up to date. Lenses can be updated too, by the way. Instructions in your own manual. It also makes support calls easier. So if you do have to call, they're going to know who you are and what you have. If you want more information, check out the Sony support channel. There's tons of good videos on there. We've made so many good videos in the last couple of years. There's also more Sony Simplified videos coming every week. We're doing 2 of these a week now, so definitely tune in for that. Also, there'll be a chat in the below for clicking for a free one-on-one consultation for a session with a Sony camera expert. If there's any future Sony Simplified topics you'd like to see, pop those in the chat. Our producers will make a note of it, and maybe next time we'll be talking about your topic. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Brett with Sony. Thank you for watching.